Hello, today's tutorial is going to show you how to get a Ruckus SmartZone 5.x wireless controller up and running with TACACS Plus. So let's jump right in. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our AD domain. Go ahead, click on groups, and let's create a new group. Call this one Device TACACS Admin. Let's add a member to it. I'm going to add myself as the domain admin to it. Apply. Okay. Now let's go ahead and log into ISE. Alright, in another video we joined our ISE server to our AD domain and we created role-based access. So right now I'm logging in with my super user account. Okay, come up top, click on Administration and Deployment. Let's click into our ISE node. This is the only one here. We have to make sure we enable Device Admin Service. Click Save. This will enable TACACS on your server. Okay, back up to Administration, down to External Identity Sources. Click on our AD domain, and we have to add in the group we just created. Let's click Add. Search for TACACS star and retrieve groups. Okay, just going to add in this one group here. Click OK and save. Next thing I like to do is I like to get very definitive with my policies. So I'll add in several network device groups. So this one I'm going to call demo, and it's going to be my location. Let's add another one. Let's call it wireless controller. And we're going to put this one under all device types. Save. And one more. Let's call this vendor. And we're going to make this a root group. Click Save. And our last one, we'll add in Ruckus under our vendor group. So this allows me to get very granular with the policies when creating them. Okay, so now let's add the Ruckus controller in as a network device. So name could be anything you want. Just make it something descriptive. Nope, no spaces. Okay, type in the IP of our device. Cisco has some pre-built profiles in here. We're just going to choose the Ruckus wireless one. Okay, now here's all the groups we built. Location, demo, device type, wireless controller, and then vendor Ruckus. So right now we're only adding TACACS, so we just have to click the TACACS box and put in a super secret password of password. Okay, submit. Okay. Now let's go into our Ruckus controller. This controller is not on TACACS yet, so I have to log in with a local account. Alright, left-hand side, we're going to click on Administration, Admin Roles, and then the tab up top, AAA. We're going to hit the Add button. Name could be anything you want it to be. For the type, we're going to click TACACS, and service here. This is the domain. So this is what you use after your @ symbol to log in, and this is the way Ruckus decides if you have several AAA servers in there, which one to send it to. So server42.local is what we're going to use here. And then the same password of password that we entered before in ISE. Okay, now we got to go over to administrators, and we actually have to create a user. This user gets used as a template, and it's actually what's returned from ISE to Ruckus that applies your permissions. So we're just going to call it something simple like super user. Password doesn't matter because we don't have to know it. Oh, it's got to meet password complexity. Great. All right, let's try that. All right, that worked. And then we have to add this user into the group. So by default, there's a super admin group, and we're just going to step through here, and we're going to add that super user to this admin group. Next. Okay. All right, so the Ruckus side is all set. We got to go back into our ISE server. Now we have to create our TACACS workflow. So let's go into policy elements and results, and we're going to create a profile that gets pushed back to Ruckus. So I'm just going to name it appropriately. And then we're going to change it to a generic task type and raw view. So now up here I have from Ruckus, they show you how to create it with a free radius. And this is what we need down here, this attribute. So we're going to be pushing back username dash the actual username we created in Ruckus. So within Ruckus here, under administrators, we created super user. So that's the variable we want to push back. So the attribute is username, and the variable is what we created, and it's super user. I'm just going to delete these spaces here. Okay, submit. All right, so our result is all set. See what it looks like. So name user, value super user. Okay, now click on device admin policy sets up top, and let's add a policy set. This name over here doesn't matter. We're just going to call it TACACS. And now let's add a condition. So first condition, this is where our groups come in from before. I'm going to add the all device types wireless controller because it's a wireless controller. We're going to add the location of demo because it's in my demo environment. And we're going to add the vendor of Ruckus because it's a Ruckus controller. And you don't have to get that granular here, but I'm just using this as an example. From the drop down, I like to choose default network access, make sure we save it, and then we can click into it and start creating our authentication and authorization policy. So under authentication, here is where you can point to different AD domains if you have different ones joined. So this first policy line is going to be server 42, and we are going to make the condition network access username, and it's going to end with server42.local. Okay, let's go ahead and click use. And drop down on the right, we got to choose our AD domain. So it's what is that condition going against? And that would be our AD domain. So authorization policy, we have to add one in. Again, rule name over here doesn't matter. You can name it anything you want. Okay, now we got to add in conditions for hitting this rule. So let's first add device type, wireless controller, and here is where you usually get pretty specific. And we're going to do the same thing that we did when we were choosing the policy set. So vendor Ruckus, device type wireless controller, And let's take identity group. So this is where the group we created comes in. So we're looking for device TACACS admin. Okay, command sets we skip, and then we find our Ruckus user super user profile and save. All right, should be all set. Let's see what happens here. Okay, Rob at server42.local. All right, and we're in.